Live on OBS
Yeah.
or Streamlabs.
Okay. I'm watching on the thing to see what happens.
I don't know if it's gonna work. Ooh, are we here? I don't know.
Maybe.
Can anybody hear us? That's the question.
Hello? We're going live. Yes, I can see that.
Can anybody hear us? That's the question. Ooh, I hear echo.
Yes, they can. They can because I just turned unmuted and we are live right now. Yay!
Oh,
You guys do not know what we did to accomplish this.
oh my
Yeah.
God.
Meg gets all the cookies.
I take Venmo for cookies.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
am
Linda's,
fucking
Linda's
proud of
here.
myself. Oh my God.
You should be.
Yeah, that was right at the last second too. You nailed it.
Down to the
Literally.
wire.
Down to
So,
the wire.
yeah, Ryan had some technical difficulties and couldn't join us tonight, so it was up to us three to figure out how to come live, and here we are live with you guys. Yay!
If only we went live on Twitch. I would have had it figured out by 6:30.
Yeah, we would have done, yeah.
I would have
Well,
been
you
able to go to the bathroom, eat some cookies.
Well, I see Linda's in the chat, and yeah, Linda, Ryan is fine. He just had some work emergencies. He's fine and everything, just couldn't get
Ryan.
away. So Meg's a little salty right now about
I know
Ryan.
I still love Ryan, but sorry. So apologies for no introduction. Ryan
Yeah.
and Chris have that. I could not provide that, but
Oh, hold on. There we go.
what happened?
None and I had to mute YouTube.
Oh, yeah, I know, because then you can hear it.
Mhm.
And it's off from what we're
Can-
actually. All
Can
right.
everybody see me on YouTube? It looks like I'm
Fine.
cut in half.
Oh, I can see you just fine.
Okay. Just making sure.
Based on what I'm seeing, it looks all right.
All right.
You're just on the bottom today.
I'm just here for the chat.
Okay, yeah, that works.
Uh,
I know from scrambling trying to get all this together, I didn't even get to properly type up my notes. So I literally have like a couple of bullet points on my phone.
mhm.
So this is going to be interesting.
It's great.
Yeah, we'll be okay.
But hi, guys.
Yeah. So welcome to the shit show that we are.
Hey, we're here, and I'm proud of us right now
Yes.
because
I
this is
absolutely.
significant.
Where's Pi? I'm getting really upset with Pi. I know
She's
she
been
doesn't
having.
watch it, but
Okay,
she should
so
be here.
you have to hit live chat for some reason. Pi. Her chat. I can see her now. Yes, I can see her. Go to the top of your chat and hit live chat instead of top chat, and there she'll be. And I don't know why.
I ain't clicking nothing because
Oh my
something's going
god,
to get
that's
messed
so
up.
weird.
It is because she's been talking, and I didn't know it till just this minute.
It's like the Twitter
My
algorithm
goodness.
getting messed up.
It's on YouTube.
No, I know, but I'm just saying it's like the similarities.
So I see you now.
There I am.
And there's Chris. Yay! All right, so we're good now. All right,
We're
let's
good.
get into it.
So yeah, we're gonna talk about 3 and 4 now, Meg. The first thing let's mention about 3 is that it was literally made. That's like its own one-off, that whole episode, because none of that took place in the video game.
It changed so much.
Yeah, besides just mentioning Frank, really. And then in the video game, you don't see Frank until a little later on, and you basically come across his corpse because he offed himself I think it was by hanging himself,
Hung
right?
himself. Well, what happened was he went on like a scavenger hunt, or
Yep.
what we call it, and he got bit a couple of times on his way back, and he didn't want to, turn into it, so he hung himself. But we don't
Okay.
see any of it. So
Right.
this episode was about 90% original, which we're not used to because in the show we're used to the cold opens being the original content with a little bit sprinkled in. So this was going way out in left field.
Yeah, yeah. It was. I mean, obviously, their whole thing with this episode was love in the apocalypse. You know what I mean? It's and how rare it is. But when you get it, you hold on to it until its bitter end. We've seen that all too often in like any kind of apocalypse show.
Mhm.
Love coming to an end abruptly, or because of now. Frank had some kind of degenerative disease. I'm not really sure what they did this giant
I thought it was
20-year time
cancer or
jump.
something.
Was it cancer?
That was just my guess, but then his hand, like he was having trouble holding like his
Yeah.
paintbrush,
I
so I
was
was a
thinking maybe
little
like MS or
confused.
something.
Yeah,
Like,
they on the podcast. I think they talked about MS or something like that. Maybe, yeah, that was.
See, my mom had MS, but hers was never like that bad. But I do know
Yeah,
people
it
that,
depends. Yeah,
yeah, it depends on the severity of it.
yeah. But I like how it, I will admit, when I first am watching this episode, I'm like, what are we doing? Because I'm like, we had these two action-packed episodes, and I was ready to go in guns blazing for the next one. I'm like, what is this? And nothing against the episode itself, because I enjoyed the story, but I was just disappointed because I wanted to see action. I wanted to see more of these, different variations of the undead and all this stuff. And so at first, I was just very bummed. And then I listened to the podcast, and they explained why they did it this way. And, as a non-gamer, I didn't know who these people were, so I had no vested interest in them.
Yeah.
But gamers, I feel like more gamers have enjoyed this story because they knew who these characters were and didn't know the history of them or any type of backstory.
It's funny you said that because this is the one episode I feel like non-gamers were robbed of.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, even gamers were robbed of it because in the game, like we already established, we don't see Frank in the game except for, a photograph, him hanging and a note that they find.
Mm-hmm.
But in the game, we have so much epic Bill content. Like one of my favorite fights in the game takes place with Bill, and two of my favorite fights. And we were robbed of it, and there was so much there. And I was more than a little mad. I was pretty mad that we missed out on it. And just the pacing of the episode in general was, even if we didn't come off two high-paced episodes, just in general, like the slowness of it. I understand love burn, slow burn, whatever. No, I couldn't get into it. I liked it, but I was having so much problems getting into it.
If I kept it like, put it in a little compartment over here as just an episode, it was fine. You know what I mean?
Right.
But
The one-off.
it just felt so, it just disjointed with the rest of what I've seen so far. And I was expecting a lot more action, and I mean, Nick Offerman and Murray Bartlett did amazing. I mean, the acting and the cinematography in this episode and that stuff was phenomenal, but it was just that, and after I watched listen to their podcast, they always fill you in with tidbits and things and why they did things the way they did. And so that gave some more insight to it and made it more understandable and, trying to show, kind of set up how Joel and Ellie's relationship was going to, from this point forward, it's kind of taught Joel some things, about relationships and how things should be and just with the atmosphere they find themselves in and things. So that part, it did make it better, but it's still just, like I said, I wanted the action.
I will say, though, they did do one thing that I thought was really well done and you never see in an apocalypse. When Ellie found the tampons. I was like, because you don't ever really acknowledge, like, the menstrual cycle. Yeah, like, take a look at, like, in Walking Dead when Lori got pregnant. It's just, okay, boom, took a pregnancy test, done. Yeah. Like, and then, like, with Frank's illness, we don't really get to see illnesses. Yeah. The only thing we got to see was, like, Ezekiel's cancer that magically got cured. Yeah. Like, we don't get to see the hardships and the true, like, because in the apocalypse, we're used to death being blows. Whether being from a walker or a gunshot, stab, whatever. We're not used to seeing natural death. Yeah. Or old school version of death from the old world. So I thought that was very well done.
Yeah.
They continue to do a very an amazing job at intricate details. This show originally does open, you have Joel with his hand in the river, flexing his hand, the cold water, his hand's still swollen, it still looks, all beat up from when he beat the crap out of that guard. The stacking of the stones, which happened after losing Tess, so I kind of really that was some kind of like spiritual burial thing maybe for him.
Yeah.
Closure for him kind of thing. And then like later on in the episode too, Ellie's as they're walking, Ellie asked Joel about the scar above his eye.
Mm-hmm.
And he said it was a near miss. It was someone tried shooting him as a near miss. Now, they don't, obviously, it hasn't been brought to life on what that near miss was, but that could have been the night where Sarah was shot and killed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because he said that he was shot at, and I think he said he killed the guy, or he shot back or whatever. But I mean, there's a lot of, like, they do such an amazing job of these details, the hand healing, and then mentioning things like the scar to keep you fresh on what happened in the past, kind of thing, or to speculate on what happened in the past. So I thought that was like really cool. Just like how they're able to like keep things fresh in your mind. Um, but yeah, I mean,
sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No. Finish your thought, please.
No. I was go ahead.
I was gonna say, even though this episode was like 90% original content, they did keep one thing in from the game. When they walked in and they saw the arcade machine, and it's one of my favorite moments in the game from the earlier moments when Ellie starts freaking out, and I actually took a really cool photo when I played it. So it's just seeing her freak out in the game over a game and seeing her freak out in the show about a game. It's just one of the million reasons why I'm really thinking this is like the best video game adaptation.
Yeah, I think in the game it was called like the
I don't remember what it was called. Actually, keep talking. I actually have the screenshot on my phone, so I'm gonna look for it.
Yeah, I forgot. It was called, like, I don't know. I want to say like the Slasher or the something. I don't know, something like that. But they use Mortal Kombat because I guess Mortal Kombat is under license with whoever,
Sony, probably.
Sony, I believe. Yeah, The Turning. The game, it was called The Turning. The arcade game.
Oh God,
it was The Turning.
Yeah, because I don't know if you could see it, but
yeah, The Turning. Yeah, and apparently, like, the girl in the game had like knives for hands or something like that. It was crazy,
like a Wolverine type.
Yeah. And apparently, like, that has the arcade game has some kind of symbolic thing with the show, because maybe down the road we'll learn more about that. But I feel like because Ellie talks about a friend who is really into games and all that stuff and everything, and there's other hints in this, in the episode, like later on when she takes the pistol and finds a pistol and pockets a pistol. We come to find out that she's pretty fluent with a weapon, especially with a gun. And obviously later on we find out more and more about her experiences, in episode 4, where they talk about where she has to save Joel at that one point. And then come to find out, well, she says it's not the first time for her either, kind of thing. But we'll get to that. There's like so many cool little things though, with this episode, that especially with Ellie, she really had a good episode for herself, like scavenging, you mentioned going down, she went on her own, scavenged, found the tampons, we come across that clicker that was collapsed on, and she does a little surgical slice and then sticks the knife in its head. But I mean, it's fun to watch their movements once again. Like, even watching, like, when I watch the game, their movements when they have a backpack on and they sling the backpack off their back and put it on the floor. If you watch Joel and his movements, it is exact to the game.
I'm so glad you mentioned that.
Yeah. I mean, and that's gotta make gamers really happy to see. It's like I said, it's all attention to detail, and it's what they're doing is amazing compared, like, especially like step for step with the game. Even though this episode didn't have those step to step things as far as the whole show goes, because it's like they're one-off, but they still are able to incorporate major video game theme things into the episode.
In the first 2 episodes, I was complaining about how we're not seeing him, make a Molotov or use a brick or a bottle to, attract a clicker. But I am happy we're getting that. And And I still would love to see the brick or the bottle at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Give him another episode or 2, and then I'm going to throw hands if I don't see it.
We did get to see Bill, though, with a gas mask on.
Yes, that was entertaining.
And apparently in the game, he's got a mask on a lot. I think they said that Bill wears a mask a lot in the game. So I mean, let's talk about Bill, because the guy was basically living like my prepper dream. His house is set up. He's got his secret little passage down into the basement, cameras, everything like that. Once again, and this is how nerdy I've gotten with this show, when they show Bill's workshop downstairs, his computer has a blue screen on it, which is like a Windows 2000 screen.
Yeah, I noticed that.
So like that's like, it's just I can't talk enough about like how well they're really paying attention to details that people care about.
It's like the Windows XP.
Yeah. Well, I'm Windows 2000, whatever.
The XP was my favorite, so I'm just like.
So yeah, I mean, it's just it's cool to see, and I mean, as far as with Bill goes and this whole scenario, you know, going out in the world, towing your boat around, you know, filling up. I mean, God, the gas prices were even accurate. There was around like $1.35 or $1.40 a gallon for high octane gas. He was using 91 octane. I'm like, oh my God, I wish I could get 91 octane for $1.40.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, going to Home Depot and just stocking up on stuff. I'm like, this is legit what I would be doing. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be in my Jeep, towing around my trailer, going to all the stores, taking what I needed, and, you know, just living the prepper dream.
I feel like a lot of people are going to be doing this if that ever happens now.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean,
you got some competition.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, hopefully I have more weapons.
Hopefully I get to them.
Hopefully I get them before they get me.
But you know, when you mentioned about you know, when he's watching, you know, like the Fedra or whatever, removing the people, because when we first entered this flashback, we saw the blanket and like the shawl or whatever, and then we saw who it belonged to.
Yeah.
And immediately that was a punch to the gut. I was like,
yeah. It was a woman holding the baby, right, in the truck.
Yeah.
Because they were clearing that whole neighborhood, that whole town. What was it called? Lincoln.
Yeah. But what really got me was sorry, I keep looking at my notes. Killing those who weren't infected. It just reminded me of everything in Europe during World War II, and it did not sit right with me, and I wanted to cry that whole montage of them removing the people.
Yeah.
But then, of course, we watched Bill go on his shopping spree, and I couldn't help but laugh. So I felt a little bad in that regard.
It was a little back and forth, right?
Oh, yeah, it's pretty emotional.
Yeah, well, so I mentioned the same thing, is that when they're walking on that path, they come across an area filled with corpses. Did anyone notice the dress or blanket that was in the pile aside a child's body? So that was 100% that woman, and, you know, holding the baby in the truck, which, like, it's just that's a gut punch, you know, like, big time. Because they weren't taking them to save them, they were just taking people at that point in time, just a mass extinction, mass murder.
Since
they come across so go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Let's say they come across the plane, which I thought was cool for Ellie to, you know, see that and ask questions about that. And
you got to go in the air.
Yeah. And Joel's playing it down like it really wasn't that great, kind of thing, you know. But at the same time, for her to even see that, he says something, I forget what he says, but as they're walking away from the scene, she goes, grim. She's like, because he said something like, well, yeah, look at them now, they're all dead or something, it wasn't that great. She's like, grim.
But think about it, okay? So all of this started in 2003. 2 years prior was 9/11. Okay, and they purposely made a reference to that in this episode. So from 9/11 until this happened in 2003, security was at its all-time high. So
Yeah.
flying got a lot different at that point, even though I hadn't flown at that point. But from what I remember, so yeah, flying. I understand kind of why Joel downplayed it. Not even if this happened before 9/11, I could see him being like, yeah, well, it was all right.
Yeah.
But after that, flying sucked at that point. So I totally get why he downplayed it for numerous reasons.
Yeah. I mean, and then they hinted back again to Joel being right, basically saying that it was in a flour and grain and all this stuff. They had hinted at that again, kind of making that the spot on assumption of what really, yes, it did get mass produced in a flour mill and distributed, throughout the world, basically. But yeah, it's as far as like Bill and Frank, and then like their storyline, I think, especially if you never saw the game and you didn't know anything about the game and you come across this episode, I think you're kind of like, whoa, what just happened? But I mean, that's, this little shock value for everybody. But yeah, for them to, they obviously fall in love, and Frank ends up being more the adventurous one, where Bill wants to basically just have his home, have Frank and nobody else. And Frank ends up being the one who, I guess, he reached out to Tess on the radio, right? I believe it was Tess on the radio he reached. And then we get to see Tess and Joel, much younger looking Tess, by the way.
And much more alive.
Yeah, much more alive,
Yeah.
much younger. And see them basically having a sit down meeting and everything. And she traded, what was it? They traded something for strawberry seeds. I can't remember what they traded.
Oh God,
Frank,
a gun.
Was it a gun?
Yeah, because he said what? And
yeah, which gun?
Just a small one. It was a
small.
Oh
yeah, okay,
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy to like really sit there and think about like. So yeah, you gave up a weapon just so you could get your hands on like some seeds for food.
Yeah.
And that's like real, like that's what a real bargaining chip is going to be in like this type of world. So, I mean, there's also like a lot of they use the X markations on a lot of spots like they do in the game. Now in the game, Meg, what the X usually means, like a secret location, or is it like just
Wait, you mean?
I know so that when the Fedra would go through and they'd mark all the doors.
Yeah, well, that's also in any national emergency. Like think of like any earthquake or hurricane. They mark an X. That usually means like do not enter, or like
Right.
Like it's structurally damaged.
Or
It's been checked,
Yeah.
and then
But
usually
in the game, isn't it like certain areas where you can go and like enter certain things or get different achievements or something like that?
See those are usually pretty hidden. You'll see like an X on PlayStation. An X is usually the action button, so it usually will pop up with a like if you kind of hover over a certain
Right.
area, and a little notification may pop up like, oh, X. Oh, what does this do? Boom.
Right. I got
But it's not like you're staring at like the world in front of you and you see like an X in the distance. That's not what it would be. It would be like you would really have to kind of walk over it.
Okay.
But remember in episode 1, I said there was a connection to the Walking Dead game?
Yeah.
We didn't get to see it because we didn't have our Bill moments.
Oh,
really?
So I will share the photo to you guys. That way you can share it on our social medias.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really mad I couldn't brag about that. I was so looking forward to it.
What was it though? So I mean, can you break it down?
Yeah. So there's this part with Bill. I don't remember if it's towards the beginning or towards the later part where we're with Bill, but they're walking through this neighborhood. They're kind of just like scavenging. I think it's like midway through. They're scavenging for resources to get this truck up and running to get out of Lincoln. They walk up by. There's this one house. Basically, if you wander around, you find this house, but it's the house from Telltale's The Walking Dead, Clementine's house.
Oh, okay.
If you stand...
Oh, wait. Yes.
Yeah, if you stand in the backyard, you see where the pool was, what the back of the house looks like, and you see her treehouse up in the corner.
Oh wow.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm gonna Google the photos after we're done recording. So
And that would have been something that would have been in this neighborhood in Lincoln, right?
yeah,
Because in Telltales it started out in Lincoln too, right?
I don't
Was her house
know.
in
I
Lincoln?
never really paid attention to where it
I know they went to
started.
I know they were in Macon, which was part of Georgia, but
Yeah, because they wound up in Louisiana at some point too. So
Yeah.
that's why I don't think it was the same. But I think it was just a nod. Because the game came out, Last of Us came out in 2013. I don't remember when when that game came out. Because that was
Yeah.
episode 1 of that game. I'm going to Google. Keep talking.
no, that's fine. So I mean, like, what do we think Bill was like growing up? Like the guy cooks, he knows wine very well. He's definitely a prepper, knows his way around like machinery, creating, making. He's very, setting traps. So I mean, like, what did this guy do? You know?
Yeah,
Like,
I think about that too. Like we were watching it, and you're like, he knows how to do everything.
yeah,
He's just so well rounded. It's like, how did he? Yeah. So I don't know.
yeah. I was trying to figure. I'm like, thinking about what this guy's background could be. Obviously, I think that was his mother's house because
The
the
piano
house
and everything.
was built in like the late 1700s or something like that.
I'm going to attempt to show it.
Okay.
Oh god, I don't know if this will work. Let me turn the brightness down. Hang on. I don't know if you could see the similarities.
Not
Hang on, let
really.
me
It's all right.
I'm gonna screenshot it. That way it removes the white. Come on. Yeah, it's really hard to see,
Yeah.
but I'll send it to you.
Okay.
But
Yeah, we'll put it on our socials.
yeah, it's not the exact same house, but it's like everybody on social media is like, oh my god, it's the same house. I am sorry, I totally interrupted you. I do that a lot.
It's all good. The other thing with Bill is obviously if you know Nick Offerman, like from Parks and Rec and stuff like that, where he played Ron Swanson.
Yeah.
There's quite a bit of Ron Swanson in Bill.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, the love of guns, hatred for government.
I love that when he says, you think the government's all Nazis, and he's like, well, they are. He goes, well, yeah,
Now
yeah.
I wanted to see him eat some eggs. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
His love for breakfast.
a little bacon or something.
Just a little bit. I mean, we did see him with a pig, so I mean,
Yeah, so I'm
that's
sure
the
he had
closest we got.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure like a lot of you know this, but he wasn't going to do the part,
No.
Nick Offerman, because he didn't have time. He literally had no time on his calendar. But thank goodness for his wife. She's like, yeah, you're doing this. Have a good trip to Canada.
Yeah.
So thank goodness for her, because he wouldn't have done it. And I'm sure who they would have found would have been, we wouldn't have known the difference. But I mean, I'm so glad that he did it.
Yeah, 100%.
Did we ever find out who was gonna do it?
Yeah. It was they had somebody lined up, and then that person could do it. And I feel like they mentioned it in the podcast, and I can't. But that's been 2 podcasts ago. So
Yeah.
because today I listened to the episode 4. Yeah, I don't know.
I do know that in episode 4, the guy who played
Perry.
is it Harry, the guy with the beard?
Perry,
not
Oh,
Harry.
Perry, yeah.
Yeah, he
He's
voiced
the guy who actually voiced Joel.
No,
right?
Tommy.
No?
Tommy.
Yeah,
Tommy.
Get your
sorry,
shit
sorry,
straight.
Yeah, come on, Chris.
I knew
That
it was
runs my
I knew it was
guts.
one of the brothers.
I'm gonna slap you.
Well, what are you gonna do? Harry, Perry, yeah, like Pi
I
says.
will
Harry,
have somebody
Perry.
slap you.
I know it was one of them. I'm trying to get all my ducks in a row. But yeah, and so like he was excuse me. Was that for me?
Love you.
If anybody else caught that, put the emoji in the chat.
It's our Easter egg. What can I say?
Yeah.
I can't view the chat right now, so they're probably like, F Meg, she's canceled.
No, not at all. They're making fun of me, basically.
Aw.
It's what it usually boils down to. I always get made fun of.
It's a term of endearment.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
There,
Um,
Bill did have a huge growth, though. I don't know if you kind of noticed the subtle hint in this episode.
Grope?
Growth,
Oh, growth. I was like,
growth,
what?
growth. I'm a little. I came. One of my souvenirs from vacation was a cold.
Oh, okay.
First food poisoning, now then a cold. So I'm a little sniffly. But when Bill and Frank have their first meal together, if you notice, they're sitting on polar opposite sides of the table.
Mm-hmm.
And then their final meal, they're sitting right next to each other.
Mhm.
Mm.
So I don't know if
Yeah.
that was meant to be done that way, but for me, I was just like, oh, that just shows like how accepting he's being of certain people now.
Yeah, because I mean, if you look at the meal they had with Joel and Tess, I mean, he had the gun there. He
Yeah.
was sitting across from Joel. But I think he just has trust issues.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I would imagine anybody would in this type of environment. Um, I thought she said grope. Bye. See, getting made fun of. Well, look, if you would have said, "Hey, they had a big grope," I mean, if you watched the episode, it's possible there could have been a lot of groping going on.
There's a lot of under the table action.
Yeah, I mean, um,
Okay, so
question about. Oh no,
I
go.
googled it quick. It was Con O'Neill who was supposed to play Bill. He was actually in Chernobyl, which Craig Manzin, that was his
Oh,
series. So
okay.
Oh.
he was supposed to do it, and then he couldn't do it. So that's yeah, because he's on Our Flag Means Death. So they were filming that,
Oh,
and he couldn't be on this. So then that's when they decided to go with Offerman. So I couldn't remember his name.
I always notice when Renee gets really silent, she's usually Googling something and then winds up being
Like
like
I gotta
very
find out the
vital
answer.
information.
Well, it was like bothered me because I knew I heard his name in the podcast, did not remember it.
I want to get your guys' opinion on something.
Mhm.
This episode, by chance, did it remind you of that episode? I think it was episode 5 of Tales of the Walking Dead.
5.
That
Which
was
episode, Tom?
that was the one with the community.
Oh,
I don't remember what the
with the
episode title was, but it was when
is that the one with the French Canadians or whatever it is?
yes,
The
yes.
the women, what was it? I think it was with
They
the two little
thought
boys.
Jesse T. Usher was in that one.
yes, and they thought
Yeah.
he
Yeah,
like
totally did not
killed.
remind me of that at all.
The reason I
You
said
said episode 3?
no, that was yeah,
No,
episode 3. Episode 3 of Tales. Episode 3 of The
I got
Last
you.
of Us reminded me of episode 5 of Tales
Hmm.
because of the community aspect. So in The Last of Us, the community was just Bill and Frank. So all they knew was this little world. They knew the outside world had gone to shit, but they don't know what is happening because they're locked off in their own little community. And in episode 5 of Tales, they know the world went to shit, but they have their own little community, and so they just.
Hmm.
I know
Yeah.
that's a reach, but that was like one of the first things that popped in my head.
Do you think if those people never got like, because I know that in front of the sign for Lincoln, it had a mandatory evacuation, but if those people wouldn't have left, I think they still would have been fine. Honestly, they would have still be alive. I would think at least, or maybe some of them
Some
would
of
still
them,
be
yeah,
alive.
absolutely,
Yeah,
because they were
Yeah,
so
okay.
off the beaten path.
yeah, yeah.
Right, because we only
Uh,
saw like one infected in the whole episode, right? Or at least there.
yeah.
Like right at
That
the
was the one
beginning, I
that she
think.
Yeah.
killed. Yeah, the one that she killed.
But
Yeah.
I forget. No,
I think
this
I
was in
thought-
the flashback. Bill, when the
Yeah.
infected had tripped Bill's
Oh, yeah,
thing,
yeah.
but I
Yeah.
don't remember
That's what
how
I meant
many
when Bill was
years into
Bill's
the
community.
apocalypse
Mhm.
that had happened.
Yeah.
But that was only the one we had seen. We don't know how many there had
Yeah.
been during that time. They just wanted us to see that.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess
Yeah.
it's up to the imagination.
Yeah.
Chris is trying to find out. No, I was looking at the dog. He was playing with a squeaky toy, and I
Oh,
was I was like, no squeaking. Uh, um, question about Bill. When he leaves on that 80s music playing for, because we all know that they listen for the different music and everything like that, knowing that they know that 80s music means danger, do you think he did that on purpose to notify Joel? And even though he didn't know Tess was dead, but Joel and Tess, like, hey,
100%, yeah.
there's a problem,
Yeah.
come quick kind of thing.
he
Well,
didn't
because
do
he had all those
anything.
supplies. What?
No, go ahead. Please finish.
Well, I was gonna say he's got all those supplies, and he wanted somebody that I feel like he was the type of guy who would want that to go to somebody he trusted, somebody he knew, not just random pilfer people coming in and scavenging his stuff. And they may not have found it being in the basement in his little, tunnel, whatever kind of thing. So I felt like, yeah, that was absolutely what he wanted. That's why he left the letter. He said,
yeah.
What did the letter said? Like,
Joel, like if you're
probably Joel, or something like that.
Yeah, to somebody or whatever, it was probably Joel. Yeah.
And plus, Bill never did anything by chance. He was
very
calculating. Very calculated. Thank you. That was the word I was trying to think of. But yeah, he didn't leave anything to chance.
Yeah.
And then the other couple cool things they did too was Ellie's and Joel's clothing.
Yes. Oh my God. How did I not write a note about that?
So when they're getting ready to leave the Bill's house, Ellie finds the red shirt. She's got a red shirt on that she wears in the video game. And then Joel ends up wearing, I think it's a green checkered flannel.
It's like a gingham flannel type.
But it's also the same shirt that Frank wore earlier in the episode. So I thought that was really cool.
Renee's
because
Googling.
now they're
No,
wearing,
I'm not. I'm saying hi to Lucy. Lucy just popped in.
because now they're both wearing what they wear in the video game.
See, I would never caught that because I didn't know that. But that's awesome.
Just Google video game clips and you'll see it. I'm still bitter we didn't get the proper Bill scenes, by the way.
The what?
The proper Bill scenes.
What do you mean?
Like the whole gameplay with Bill. There was so many, so much good content.
So let's break this down for everybody. In the video game, the first time Joel and Ellie come across Bill, I believe, doesn't Joel get caught in one of his traps and is hanging upside down?
Bill gets trapped instead of Frank, right?
Yeah.
So I talked about that. I think in episode 1 I talked about that. Last of Us episode 1. It's the first time we meet a bloater too. So Bill, or it's not it's within that earlier points of them seeing Bill, he walks into this gymnasium, he gets caught in a trap, he gets hung upside down, and then the bloater comes out and you have to try to kill the bloater while being hung upside down.
Oh wow.
It's I have trouble shooting a bloater normally, and shooting a bloater upside down is even harder.
Yeah, I mean that's a very hectic scene in the game.
It
happens quick. That's people, the downtime between what you have in the game and what they're trying to put on the show. Obviously, it's going to be completely different. And I mean, I read stuff, I see where people are they're complaining about whatever. It's you can't make a TV show exactly like a video game because it's not going to translate right. It's not going to show right. It's going to be, in a video game, the developers and everybody keep pushing you forward because, you got to keep advancing in the game. What's the next thing? What's the next?
Be interested.
Right. You can't do that. I mean, you can't do that and they take that and put it into a TV show because you're going to be missing. Could you imagine if they did that with, and not explain anything about Bill? I mean, I don't know. I know it was a one-off and we needed, I feel like we needed it just to get more backstory. So yeah, I mean, it's just silly that people complain about some of the certain things that it's if they were to do it exactly like the video game, it wouldn't translate. You wouldn't have character connections the way that you're able to develop. You're able to develop with these characters and get to know them, kind of thing. That's what you form that bond, so to speak, with the people on the show. If they were to just do this like a video game, you'd be
just watch the gameplay.
Yeah, exactly. Just watch the gameplay.
I'm actually really glad you mentioned that about the translation, because when we get into episode 4, there was something that happened in the episode that actually translated very poorly into the show compared to how it was in the game. So I'm excited to talk about that when we get into it. So I'm going to reference what you just said about that.
I know Tiffy, she plays the game, so I just don't know if she's still playing it or not.
I think her daughter played it. I think she was going to.
Oh, okay. She said if they did it like the video game, it'd be like watching Resident Evil. Yeah, I mean,
Speaking of Resident Evil, they just released a new trailer today for a new Resident Evil movie. It's completely CG, and I love CG animation. I feel like it's 10 times more beautiful than standard animation. and it's releasing this summer. So I'm excited to check that out. Nice little plug for them right there, but
For Resident Evil.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just their movies have been trash, but
This one looks very promising.
they did. I was watching a Resident Evil animated series on Netflix, I think, and that was pretty good too.
Like, imagine the graphics of the Last of Us remake, like the new one for PS5, in a Resident Evil world.
Okay.
If that can help shape it up. But the trailer's all over the internet, so.
Yes, Lucy, Ryan is okay. He just couldn't be here tonight.
But we miss him.
Yeah, we do. I'm sure he had plenty to talk about tonight. Before we jump into 4, is there anything else you guys wanted to mention with this episode?
Let me look at my notes. I think I talked about all my stuff. I didn't have.
I have a question.
Okay, go
but
ahead.
I want to make sure you guys have said everything you have to say about the episode.
Yeah, I'm good.
The only thing I was going to mention too is the symbolism of they keep showing the window. So
that's the video game, right?
Yeah.
I heard that on the podcast.
In the video game, the window has a lot. It's like your interactive kind of thing with the game. But I guess what they're trying to do is when they show the window, the image of the window in every episode or whatever, it's supposed to, in the backdrop of that scene, supposed to have something to do with each episode. It's kind of like what I heard. I don't know.
Like the next episode to kind of lead into kind of like a window to the, not a window, how can I put this? Like, how like a window can sometimes be like an opportunity.
Sure.
So kind of like an opportunity, like into the, like a glimpse into what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But the showrunners had talked about on the podcast how they were going to start the episodes with the window, because it was like, I guess in the game or something, there's windows or something like that, but just it didn't always work. So they're trying to fit them in where they can, where it makes more sense in the series. So I think that's the idea. Yeah,
that would have been really cheesy if they did it. So I'm glad it's
kind
of
because I think that's what their thought process was, to be cool. They thought it'd be cool, but then they're like, doesn't make sense in a lot of these instances.
Yeah, so. like with like at the end of episode 2, like boom, Tess just exploded, and you can show a window.
Yeah,
that would have been like so bad.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
with symbolism. Oh, she died, but here's a window.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like the only last thing I really had was just to mention the window theme.
What was your question, Meg?
Oh, well, Renee, I already told you mine, but because Renee and I were texting this morning about the episode. What would, if you had to rate, I know we're not big raters on this podcast, which I love that, but if you had to rate this episode, because this episode is getting review bombed, all over the internet, but if you had to rate this episode, what would it be out of 10?
It's tough for me because, like I tried to explain to Meg, I said, I didn't like it with the series. I didn't like. I mean,
that's why I want everybody's opinion, because we have 3 completely different.
I would kind of rate it a little lower because I don't feel it fits the series. And I go back to me not being a gamer. I have no vested interest. These are 2 brand new characters to me. It just, you know what I mean? Like, if I just watch this as like a mini movie or something, I've been like, oh, what a great story kind of thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? But for me, I would rate it a little lower because I just had no vested interest in these 2 characters that were brand new to me.
I need a number.
6.5.
Okay. Now, Chris, you have watched the gameplay.
Yeah. And I think that's why I have a little bit more appreciation for it. Earlier in the episode, you got to see some of the scavenging take place. You got to see like Joel exchanging weapons kind of thing, Ellie with like her doing her stuff. And then obviously them knowing that they had to build a storyline out of this. I think they did an amazing job with the storyline with that relationship. And it gave us insight as to how Joel and Tess became a part of them through radio communication and all this kind of stuff. So honestly, I mean, I'm going to give it like an 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
This morning, I had given it a 7.5. But now that, all day I was kind of thinking about it, and I'm still really mad we were robbed of so much great moments. And also just how it was so offset compared to what we're used to, I'm gonna go down to a 7, I think. Just because it was a chance for gamers to really explore this relationship, but it wasn't fair to the newcomers who, like Renee said it perfectly. These are two brand new characters. A lot of people had no interest in them.
Yeah.
And I get that. But for us, we wanted to know more about Frank. And they changed the relationship between Bill and Frank in the game versus the show. So I feel like those certain changes really just brought the episode down, in my opinion. So 7.
Okay. All right. So we'll steamroll right into episode 4. And you know what? Let's start 4 with what we just left off with, because 4 had 7.5 million people watching it. The ratings keep going up and up and up. And episode 5 being on a Friday, I think is one of the best ideas they could come up with. Obviously, you don't want to ever have to compete with the Super Bowl, but doing it on a Friday, I'm thinking like the Friday before the Super Bowl, I'm thinking this is probably going to hit around like 9 million.
Oh, yeah.
Ryan's in the chat, by the way.
Oh, what up, Rye guy?
Sorry,
yeah.
Ryan, there's no text on the screen saying who we are.
So yeah, let's talk about 4. You want to go ahead, Meg? I mean, 4 compared to 3. 4 compared. So I'm telling you right now, 4. I'm giving like a 9 off the bat. Like, yeah. 4
I want to hear from Meg's gamer, you guys' gamer things, because personally for me, I thought it was such a good episode. I was so excited, new characters, but these, like it was exciting again, so I was like, I was so excited. So I'm excited to hear from your gamer's perspective.
I have one negative for this episode, and it's what I mentioned earlier in our recording about how Chris was talking about translation. So the scene in the game, I'm going to get to all my thoughts later as we keep talking, but my one gripe, or grind my guts, when the scene where they crash their truck into the laundromat, that whole action sequence, in the beginning, it started being beautifully translated, but then after they crashed, the fight then took a massive shit. In the game, it is such an awesome sequence where Joel is battling it out, trying to save him and Ellie. But in the episode, it was like cut drastically short. And the guy that is trying to kill Joel, the one that Ellie shoots, he's a new character. So of course, we have no connection to him. But they did a really good job in making us connected to him. But that whole sequence was cropped. And I know a lot of people were complaining about that whole sequence. That was the only issue I had. The rest of the episode, 9 out of 10, easily.
Yeah. I mean, I obviously, from the gameplay standpoint, I didn't personally play it, but I do know that the side-by-side view of that scene, where the guy comes out, help kind of thing, and Joel tells her to put her seatbelt on and everything.
Yeah.
Up until like you said, like through the crash, that is like scene for scene out of the video game.
It's like episode 1 when they were trying to get out of Texas.
The only thing that's different is the guy drops the brick from up top, and I think instead of that, there's another guy who shoots through the windshield in the video game.
Yeah. And it's in the game, it's Pittsburgh, but in the show, it's
So let's talk about that. The reason why that they decided not to go with Pittsburgh, number one, they are filming in Alberta, Canada. So I guess as far as like the backdrop where they're all, in Canada where they're at, doesn't really suit obviously Pittsburgh, where I guess it would suited more of a Kansas City vibe that they went with. Desolate, wide open. Kansas is just flat and wide open. I mean, that's why the tornadoes go ripping through there. But they were able to incorporate a lot in like those open screenshots that they had while they were driving. The landscapes they were able to capture, everything from like the boat graveyard in the river to like the bridge they were crossing, which symbolizes the same bridge in the video game.
Yes.
Like in the game, that bridge is always like lit up yellow or gold or whatever, as like you're kind of like, was that like a save point, I guess, or
Yeah, I think that was an autosave because I think
Yeah,
something happened. It's been like I said, it's been a few years since I've played it, so
right.
the deeper we get into it, the more rusty I'm getting.
Hmm.
But yeah, I do remember an autosave happening there.
Yeah. So I mean, they do, and they show them crossing a bridge that symbolizes like that bridge from the video game. Um, so like in that whole trek while they're driving, though, the siphoning of the gas. In the video game, Bill gives Joel the hose for the siphon, but here, obviously, they were dead, so Joel finds it and takes it and brings it with him, knowing that you know gas is hasn't been pumped in 20 something years, hasn't been, so a lot of that gas is just water now. It's a shit, it's shit fuel.
And I like how he says that too. Like in The
Yeah.
Walking Dead, it's just always, oh, this great gas we've got, and we can drive
Yeah.
and drive. So I liked how he explained that to her, like, well, back in the day, we didn't have to do this. We could go this far. So I thought that was great that they
That
like
was
explained that.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, so in this book of puns that she finds with
That all of that was just outstanding.
yeah.
So in the game, when the girl who plays Ellie in the game, Ashley Johnson, I am fully convinced when she read the script for like what we hear in the game, I'm fully convinced that's her saying the jokes for the first time. If you
Mhm.
hear her natural reaction to this, it is spot on, and
Yeah.
Bella knocked it out of the park with these jokes. And
Mhm.
even the cover of the book is the same in the show
Yeah.
as it is in the game.
I saw that online.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did see the picture of that.
Well, even the cover, I think that, well, no, wait, is the cover of the magazine that she found from Bill, is that
Yeah,
the
it's
same?
funny.
That's the same magazine
Yes,
that she
it is.
rated. So I mean,
Yeah.
like, yeah, I mean, just
And then when she says, "Why are all these pages stuck together?" And then she,
yeah, that's what
oh,
Lucy was just saying. Yeah,
that the jokes and the magazine are my favorite part of like the whole
yeah.
game.
It was so
glad they
funny.
did that.
They do a really good job of like mixing it up.
Mhm.
Like you have these bonding tones, where they're together and she's trying. You could tell like she obviously wants more from Joel. Like I feel like, she's putting herself out there more. All the questions she asks is to find out more
So
and to
she
get
wants to
more.
be like him.
Yeah, she
Like
does. Yeah.
she looks up to him, and
He's a
she
doer.
exactly, and she
Yeah.
and she's never had uh, any type of adult figure in her life that can teach her things, and she sees all those things he can teach her,
Yeah.
and like survival skills and just everything. So I love how it's developing.
Yeah. And obviously that'll keep growing, but um, her trying to tell the jokes, trying to get him the break and everything like that. It's nice to have that two-way kind of street in the show, where like you get the seriousness and the darkness and how bad things are, but then you get like this young girl who's first time out in the world and coming across all these things, for the first time, and she plays the innocent thing really, well,
Yeah, she
obviously,
doesn't.
but
Yeah, like even just the seatbelt, and she's like, I don't know,
What was it from that scene that I wanted to speak on? I totally just blanked out. Yeah, keep going. I totally just blanked out.
I mean, so when they come, so in the video game, obviously, this is like we're saying, so they're going through Kansas City. In the video game, it's Pittsburgh, but when they come to this roadblock at this tunnel, is that the same kind of thing that rolls? I don't remember this part from the video game. That's why I
don't really
wasn't
remember
sure.
this part either, honestly.
Okay.
When they approached it in the show, I was like, wait a minute. I feel like I've seen it before, but maybe I'm just thinking of a preview, so I couldn't really remember.
Yeah, I wasn't sure myself. I mean, I was trying to figure that out.
I want to say maybe it was a gate. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I just know that I was trying to figure out like correlation, like why was this spot designated as like this dead zone? You can't cross. It's been blocked. Obviously, there's a lot of telltale signs of what went through there because later in the show you see that truck with the big plow on it. It says "run." When you look at all the cars on the highway, they're all smashed on an angle.
Yeah.
So it looks like somebody went through there with that type of vehicle and just kind of like plowed their way through. So who knows if it's set up that way to be a blockade, or if that was originally supposed to be like that. They show a ton of landmarks. They show like a roller coaster, like a theme park shut down. They show all the bison out, like the wild buffalo and stuff out in the fields, which kind of like gives you that feeling like the planet is taking itself back, kind of thing. You have the overgrowth,
which is beautiful in itself.
Yeah, of course. That's what I say. Like this whole opening scenes of this show, like the overview shots. It shows you like the beauty with the destruction. So like you have this beautiful layout of land, but then you have this bridge with a ship graveyard, from overturned ships and everything, and you see like the catastrophe of that, and then the way the roadways are and the highways. It's just
and the Love's convenience store. That was I don't know if you guys have those where you are, but like I know in the Midwest those are everywhere. We
don't, but I knew exactly what it was.
Yeah, so it was like, hey, I know where they're at.
And then at one point when you were mentioning the landmarks, and there was an Arby's sign, which was a direct nod to episode 3. Yep. It's like, this isn't an Arby's. It's like,
like you can't get food for free.
Yeah.
And Joel's like, you don't get food for free at Arby's.
That was Frank. That was Frank.
Oh, Frank, yeah. Sorry.
But actually in episode 3 with landmarks, they had a Cumberland Farms, which we do have some of those here. Far and few between, but we do have some. So I was like, oh, hang on.
Yeah. We have one that I know of in the area.
All the ones by me smell like they've just been like done with pest control, so I tend to avoid them.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So if you're in Jersey, don't go to Cumberland Farms.
I usually don't walk into a Cumbies and start sniffing, but just
well, no, as soon as you step in, you go to breathe, and it's like your nostrils are just smell it.
In correlation to the video game again, obviously in the video game, the part where they pull off the road and they camp out and all that stuff and everything like that is obviously not in the game, because in the game, like we said before, that it's something where they keep pushing it forward onto the next one, where they were able to like put this scene in there and fit it into the story. And I like what they were able to do, because there was another building bonding moment for them. When Ellie asks if they can build a fire, and Joel says no, and she's like, why? Because of the creatures or the monsters or whatever she called them. I can't remember, the clickers. He said no, and he's like, it's because of people. People are the real, it always followed that one theme where like, yeah, you have this situation that is dangerous, but the most dangerous thing out here is other people, because they're out here to take what you have. And I mean, in the real world, they're out there taking women and children, and bad things are happening. So Joel knows, like, if I light a fire, smoke, people see it, they come and they raid. And the next thing you know, you're being kidnapped and, used for slave trade or some shit or whatever. And that's usually, I mean, that's part of them being able to like give you that light part in the beginning with the, the puns and the jokes and the magazine, and then bringing you to somewhere that's serious and dark, and I love how they're able to do that, and even Joel telling her like, we'll be safe out here, but yet the guy can't sleep himself. They show that kind of eerie image with Ellie sleeping and him standing in the background with the rifle, just staring into the woods, because even like he's not sure.
And they also made a note of it to talk about his wound again, like his scar, talking about like, not being able to hear as well on his right side.
Right.
Which that winds up being a crucial moment at the end of the episode. So they really planted the seed early on, and I'm really glad they did that.
Go lay down.
Dougie.
Sorry. I had to lay down the law. Like that? Go lay down. Just seen him pop in. Mitchell just celebrated a birthday, everybody.
Happy birthday!
He's a whole 19 years old.
He's a
baby.
He's a whole whopping wish I could be again,
Just give me 21. I'll take 21, not even 19.
Look, Just give me back like 35. You know what I mean? Like I'll go back.
I'd take 35. That'd be good.
Right?
I'll be
35 would
35
be
this
good.
year, so I can't say anything.
Oh, no, yeah. You can go back to 21. I need
Yeah.
to go back to
Yeah.
20 to 35.
Well, no, you have to go younger because I'm older than you, and I want to be 35. So then you'll have to go back.
Fine, I'll go to 30.
I'll take 21, and then Ryan will just be like, not born.
Yeah. Toddler.
Ryan will be like, just I'll have to have him on my lap.
Yeah.
Just bounce the little bitty Ryan.
Yeah. Chris, if you're going back, I'm going back. Oh, okay, yeah. So you know what? Everyone's invited to fall back on their age. Instead of springing forward, we'll just fall back with our age instead.
Good, because my knee won't hurt as badly then.
What are they? So hold on. They were eating Chef Boyardee, right?
20-year-old Chef Boyardee.
20-year-old chef. What does she say? Did she say something like, that boy can cook or some shit like that?
Something, I forget it.
I was dying.
Yeah.
She's like, that boy can cook. I was like, oh, girl.
Like, what did you just say?
And he's like, I agree or something. Yeah.
Joel's just saying anything to shut her up at this point.
Yeah, I know. He's trying to really keep her as cargo, which I think was like a real gut punch for her.
Yeah.
I remember what I was gonna say. Sorry, go on.
No, go. Before you lose it.
When we were talking about the joke book, I would love to see the blooper reel of how many times Pedro broke character.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
Because you could tell he was dying to laugh, but he couldn't.
Because every time they're on TikTok videos or anything, like they're laughing the whole time.
Yes, I love their interviews.
I can imagine that's what that scene was like. And how many takes it took for him to keep a straight face.
The serious scenes are always the hardest to shoot.
Exactly.
Everybody knows it. So go on. I'm sorry I had to say that.
No, that's good because you know what? You just brought me up to something too that like with the videos and the pictures and all the stuff that they do for social media and everything like that. Not that this will ever reach any of these people, but if it ever does, good. But you people are sick, demented, and twisted for thinking that this relationship that they have is anything other than what it is.
Oh, it's just love right there. No.
Yeah. I don't understand what...
Like, shut the fuck up. All right? Shut up. This is a young child and a man who is well established in his career. Like, they have a relationship they formed in bond over a show that they love doing. Like, put your bullshit. Like, stop being sick fucks. Other than that, like, I just needed to get that out because I seen some shit and I'm just like, I can't take this shit no more.
Yeah, I know. People,
That's just,
despite all the love and praise the show is getting, it is getting an equal amount of hate. And it really...
Like anything. People who have no life.
From Bella's casting to the relationship, like you just mentioned, to having Nico Parker, play Joel's daughter.
Right.
Like how it's not a blonde hair, blue eyed girl. It's just... It just pisses me off. And, even like Walking Dead got their fair share by casting different people for certain roles. So it's just, and that's what pisses me off about fandoms in general. I'm about to go off on a tangent here. But every fandom, Star Wars, Walking Dead, MCU, DCE, or DCU as it's now called, gaming, it just... Dude, shut the fuck up. Let people enjoy their shit. And if you don't like it, make your own goddamn thing. That's all I'm going to say. And let me see if it's better than what they make.
Yeah, no.
And the thing is, these are the same people who would never say this stuff to anyone's face. They got to hide behind their screens and their screen name and their fake picture.
Yep.
And it's very frustrating because it's like you guys are... you're gutless because you'll do this behind your screen. But if you came face to face with any of these people, you would never have the courage to say any of this.
So, I can relate to that one very personally. I just had on one of my videos. I
saw that,
and I had it
when
you
saw my post, right? I said,
yeah. So I in the end of December, I uploaded a video because McDonald's released the Super Mario movie. Happy Meal toys, and I made a vlog about being on the hunt for them, and some keyboard warrior or keyboard troll, whatever you want to call him, with no profile picture, basically made a jab at me being heavyset and saying I don't need burgers or whatever, and it didn't faze me, honestly.
Yeah.
Because I was just like,
course.
whatever.
Yeah.
But
Because he just wants a response because he's sitting at home in his underwear doing whatever.
Sure.
in his mother's basement.
Right.
So I just deleted the comment, but I was like,
rubbing Crisco on his fucking nipples and like, fucking just a disgusting.
but I was just like, you know what?
slob in
I
his
feel
mom's
bad
basement.
for people that like genuinely take the time and effort to type anything negative or make angry stuff like this, because I genuinely feel bad for them. Like I wish them nothing but the best, and I hope they get the help that they need.
Yeah.
Because
for
it is
sure.
not like they need
Yeah.
help.
You
They
have to
need
find
happiness.
the time to go on social media, find something to comment on and make yourself feel better about yourself. Like,
Exactly. What does that say about you? And if anything, he helped me by getting me more views. So thank you.
Exactly. Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you for that.
But so like in real life, how old is Bella? She's like what, 19?
19.
I think.
19?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Ellie
No,
is
I'm just
14.
Right. Okay. All right. So she's playing someone who's right. Okay.
But not much younger, because if you think about it, like look at like when like Buffy the Vampire Slayer was on, you know, Saved by the Bell. They were in their 20s playing like high school freshmen. So Bella being 19 isn't that far off.
Well, I'm thinking about when they go into season 2.
Ellie will
'Cause,
be
I mean,
21.
Yeah. So you think they're gonna recast her?
No. Because even if they start
For someone who
filming
looks older?
season 2 next year, so let's say 2024 they start filming, which I have a feeling they're going to start filming at the end of this year, honestly. And they bump her up, so she'll be like 20 playing a 21-year. They can do makeup to make her look.
I was gonna say, you think they age her up a little bit?
They
somehow,
can age
maybe
down, they
change
can
the
add
hair?
up. Yeah, they could do anything. The hair isn't going to be an issue.
Yeah. But the thing is too with girl, you know, you get to 20, you know, she'll be 20 by that time. Bella will be 20 by that time. You know, like your face structure starts to change by that
Yeah.
time and things.
Yeah.
So she could be just fine, you know, but yeah, it wouldn't be difficult to make that happen.
So this isn't a spoiler at all for the second game, but in the second game, Ellie has this amazing half sleeve tattoo to help cover up her scars. And I'm super excited to see this tattoo in the show.
Okay.
I've actually thought about getting said tattoo, but I decided not to, because it's literally the length of your forearm.
Yeah.
But it's absolutely beautiful. So I cannot wait to see how they do it in the show.
Yeah. No, that'd be interesting to see too. Yeah.
But back to episode 4.
Yeah.
I know we got on a way tangent, didn't we?
You know what? It needs to be said sometimes.
Sometimes you just gotta drop the hammer.
That's it. Some of the cool things that they did show in that scene prior to them crashing, as they were driving through the town, you saw the pile of like smoking dead bodies,
Yes.
which, you know, you did see in the video game as well. So, you know, I continue to say it because they're just so damn spot on. Like, they continue to be amazing in like what they're able to like pull from this world and make it, you know, put it on TV. Like, what I think in the game they get hit by a bus that sends them out of control or something like that. But in this one, they run over spike strips. And
well, it's like nails, really.
Yeah,
they couldn't do spike strips.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was a nice. They kind of did something similar in the pilot, where you thought they were going to get hit by a truck when really it was the airplane that took them down. So I thought this was another nice way to divert, thinking it's gonna something, you know, different might happen.
Yeah.
I'm still mad about that scene, but that whole part, like from when we meet Kathleen, that's all new footage. Like Kathleen is a brand new character, and she was casted perfectly. I love her. Anybody who has ever watched 2.5 Men, she played Charlie Sheen's crazy stalker girlfriend.
Yeah.
So to just see her growth, and plus with like Yellow Jackets, Sweetheart, you know, she's just has an amazing range, and I cannot wait to see more of her. And really, something that's going to happen in episode 5, which I can't say.
Yeah. We can speculate because of what they showed though for coming up on episode 5. I mean,
well,
we know something big and something scary and something very hard to kill is coming. We know that.
No,
much.
it wasn't that.
Okay. Can I just say though, when they opened up that room and they saw the ground moving, I was like, is this a hint? Because in the game you have the Rat King,
That's what
And
I was thinking.
I immediately went, are they like foreshadowing like the Rat King coming? Because that thing is a monstrosity of beyond monstrosities.
But
And
they can't introduce the Rat King and the Bloater in the same episode.
well, yeah, right. So that's why I was like, but immediately I jumped to that. I'm like, oh, is this like a foreshadowing of him or something like that?
Yeah.
But then when I saw the coming scenes for the next episode and they show that still shot of the bloater, so
well, no, because I don't know if it's not really a spoiler because it doesn't give anything away. But when the very last moment when you see like the two people hold up Joel and Ellie, one of them is Henry. That's not, so it doesn't give away anything that's gonna happen. It's just, I mean, it's kind of obvious that it was gonna be that, but what Henry does, who knows, and why they're on the run, who knows,
right.
But I'm excited to see how it develops and see how close they keep to the original source material. Have some tissues ready if they keep it true to the source. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay. All right. So, let's talk about the scene where Joel could have died, but obviously, Ellie's there to save his life. She uses the gun that she took when they were over at Bill's house, and puts a bullet through the dude's back. Brian, I think his name was, who was a character that didn't exist. I mean, they had like random names in the video games or whatever, and they did that. Like I heard that the reason why, like these I don't know what you call them, factions had. They'd be like, "Oh my God, you killed Pete," or "Where's Pete?" or or
oh
Joe.
My God, they killed Kenny.
Yeah, they killed Kenny or whatever. And they said that they like did that so that way you would have like some kind of, you would feel like a remorse because that person had a name kind of thing, which I think is really ingenious for a video game. You know what I mean? Because like usually in a video game, like I don't know, you shoot a bad guy, who cares? But now they're associating them with names as to give them like an identity as a person,
or to humanize them for you. So it's not just a kill of this random. That's what, and then in the podcast they really explained it with Brian why they added him and added the dialogue of him saying, "My name's Brian, my mom's near, my blah blah blah," to help to see Ellie's see her reaction to this real person, that this wasn't just a random guy out in the street, to make him more human to her,
and the grieving.
Yeah, exactly,
because it makes you realize they're bad people, but they do have families too, and it really it pulls at your heartstrings a little bit, and it hurts, but then you realize. And it kind of goes right back into the argument with The Walking Dead. I know, we keep saying you shouldn't compare it to The Walking Dead, but here we are. Like with if Negan's group had been our group from the beginning, would we be saying the same thing? And it's the same thing with Brian. If Brian and Kathleen and Perry's group was our group this whole time, are we going to see that Joel's the enemy?
Yep.
So it's I love when shows and stuff do stuff like this. Really makes you think.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, I'm sorry, what's her name again?
Kathleen.
So just to catch people up, she's looking for the people who killed her brother, correct? Her brother, obviously we don't know who that is, but the two people she's looking for are the people that they're,
Henry and Sam.
They think it's Joel and Ellie. They don't know who it is, but they're like two new people showed up. Were they sent for by the other two kind of thing? So obviously they have no idea that it was Joel and Ellie that killed everybody, but they're under the assumption that either was it Kenny? No, what are the two guys' names?
Sam and Henry.
Sam and Henry. They're brothers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are they in the video game as well? They are. Okay. So they're in the video game, but Kathleen's not.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
And neither is Perry.
Neither is Perry. So Perry's like her second-hand man, I guess?
Yeah, so he's got the military background, and they kind of talk about this in the after show, because I haven't listened to the podcast yet, but he kind of just follows her lead.
Okay.
He's the beta to her alpha.
Oh, there you go. Here's a little referral reference. And then so also, what was I just gonna say about that? Oh man, I'm having a Meg moment.
It's contagious. Watch out.
I know. Oh damn it, I forgot. I'll have to come back to it. So the scene where she kills the priest, that
The doctor.
I'm sorry, the doctor. Yeah, that doctor was actually like her doctor. We find out.
Yeah.
He said I held you when you were born, kind of thing.
Yeah. That was
like,
rough.
oh, yeah. But it shows something clicked in her head where she's outside, she sees the people that are dead, and then just turns into this other person, this other personality she has, and just walks up there and blows the dude's brains out.
Well, I love that dialogue before, the first dialogue where she's like, "Oh, so now it's okay."
Right.
Yeah.
Right, when she pulls her gun out.
Her demeanor through the whole thing, like I would be livid and freaking out kind of thing. Yeah. And she was just like, "Oh, so now it's okay. Oh, do I meet the criteria now for this?" Yep. I mean, it was just like so matter of fact, and she was so cool and collected with it all. Mm-hmm. And then she goes outside and just like, all right, and comes back in and shoots him,
As if she was just picking up a bottle, just done.
Exactly. Yeah.
I cannot wait to see how she does in episode 6. To be completely honest, I hope they don't kill her off too soon. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like she is gonna do so well if she lasts up until the end. I know she won't.
I think she gets wiped out in episode 5 with the bloater.
Wait, do you think she gets killed by a bloater or with the bloater?
That whole scene that they show, there's a building up in flames. That thing is coming out of like wherever. I don't know. I just think that somebody major is probably going to die.
I feel like that would be too cliche though, because we see that happen all the time where the bad guy winds up dying through like a series of events by the protagonist. So I feel like that is just cliche, and I really hope they don't do it that way. I want it to be like I want it to be like a fight. I don't want it to be just at the hands of God by whatever happening.
So Lucy wants to know what a bloater is, Meg.
No, so a bloater is I can't even pull up my notes because it's gonna mess up. So a bloater is one of the latest, it's the second to last stage of infection. So we've seen the clickers where it takes over like their entire face. The bloater is a couple stages after that where it takes up their entire body, and they're like basically like really puffy, but the scales from like the fungi and all that stuff from their face, it goes throughout their whole body. So it creates like a plate of armor for them. So it makes it 10 times harder to kill than a typical clicker. Because like if you saw in episode 2, you could take like an axe or a gun to a clicker and kind of just get rid of them then. A bloater, you have to get through those layers, like kind of like an onion. I have to like cut through the layers or peel the layers back. So it's kind of like that. The bloater is the one I hate killing the most. And if you play the game, you'll understand. It is probably one of the toughest villains in the entire game. Worse than humans.
Now in the game, doesn't it throw spores at you or something?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I'm curious.
Which I don't think we'll see that.
It's funny you said that because they've purposely said that spores are in the show somehow, some way, but they're not as important of a factor as the tendrils are because of how the cordyceps is spread in the show versus the game. But the spores do exist, so I am very curious to see that. And I'm very glad you mentioned that because I completely forgot because I have PTSD from the bloaters. So I completely forgot that they shoot stuff out because I always try to shoot them from such a far range. I try to avoid like the crap they shoot out because it's not fun.
So I know we mentioned this in the first part of the show, but for people who are watching now, this guy Perry, who is Kathleen's right-hand man, was actually in the video game, but as the voice of Tommy, who is Joel's brother.
You said it right.
Yeah. So, and I mean, they did mention, when they're looking at the map in the car, they were talking about, oh God, where were they going?
Well, they mentioned Cheyenne.
Somewhere in Cheyenne, yeah,
They
somewhere in
said Wyoming they're going
Wyoming,
to.
yeah, and that's where they think that Tommy is,
Yeah.
which is another reason why it also brought them timeline wise, I guess. They discussed like timeline wise for them going through Kansas City instead of Pittsburgh right now, the traveling and the timeline that they're on and stuff. So it all fit better that way. Made more sense as far as timeline goes with them traveling and everything.
Well, also keep in mind in the game when this part happened, you're maybe 4 to 5 hours into gameplay. We're already on episode 4, so they have
Yeah.
to like jump ahead
Yeah.
a little bit
Yeah.
in order to
Right.
fit the entire game into 9 episodes or 8. Is it 8 or 9 episodes?
9.
All right, so you have to fit an entire game into 9 episodes. So they really had to focus on. They really had to sit down and make crucial decisions on, okay, what are the main points to choose, and they talked about that in the after show.
Mhm.
They said which points they felt should be expanded and which parts they felt like should be omitted from the show. So they had a really tough act of choosing that. And I feel like they're, apart from most of episode 3, they're doing a fantastic job of it.
Yeah. I mean, we obviously get to, they're searching all the buildings. They're trying to find out who killed everybody. They're looking for the 2 brothers, because that's who they suspect did it. They come, the one guy, Perry, finds a little area that they were hiding in, the cans of food and the drawings on the wall and everything. And then, Joel ends up having like that, I want to call it uncomfortable conversation with Ellie about the gun. He does show her in the video game how to hold it and shoot it as well as like he did in the show. So that was really cool to see too. And for him to like admit that like he needed her, like he would have been dead, so like, another one of those moments, when I actually remembered what I wanted to say earlier, when Ellie shot that kid in the back and Joel like dismissed her, you know what I mean? Like you could see like that was pain she felt. That was hurt because in her eyes, she just saved your life. She just did something that, yeah, no kid should have to do. So like when like he like told her, give me the gun and go, go away, go back inside the wall or whatever. When she turns around and you like look at her face, like you could tell she's pissed, she's upset because of what she just did for him. She's cargo, and I think that resonates with her, and especially like situations like that.
I'm glad you said that because I don't think a lot of people picked up on that.
Yeah.
And I think on his part though, it wasn't like he was dismissing her. He felt bad that she had to be in that position.
Yeah.
Right.
He's supposed to protect her,
Yeah.
and he felt guilty that he put her in that position, and
that's what he later admits.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's like, I'm not good with this stuff, and she's like, yeah, I can tell.
Obviously.
But she does get him to crack at the end of the episode.
Oh yeah.
And
who wouldn't laugh at that joke?
He's outstanding in his field. But I thought it was pretty genius that he was laying down the glass.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it wound up not working in his favor because of what side he slept on.
Yeah.
Right.
But I thought that was cool that she kind of reiterated it by like whispering his name and then like kind of getting his attention.
And also, if you notice, every time they do go to sleep or whatever, Joel always puts himself facing the danger.
Yes.
She's always behind him. So like, this relationship that we all know is building and what it does become, it's slowly building, through every episode. So it's nice to see though, the way they're doing it. Obviously, we talked about the scene where they find the crumbled rocks in that basement or whatever it is, and it moves and whatnot. So, for episode 5, from what they've shown, something's rising up out of the ground. It's definitely a bloater. It looks like there's a couple of clickers with it too. If you watch that in slow, like real slow, you'll see a clicker coming up from the left side as well. So that was probably some kind of, they call them hives.
Yeah.
So that was probably a hive under the ground right there.
Well, usually where there's a bloater, there's always a few clickers.
Yeah. For the game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, five should, I think five is probably going to have, I'm calling it like probably around like 9 million views.
You know, it's funny you mentioned about episode 5 not wanting to go against the Super Bowl. The finale is going against the Oscars.
Yeah, but you know what? What was it? This past episode 4 went up against
The
Grammys.
the Grammys and crushed the Grammys.
Oh yeah, nobody cares about the Grammys.
7.5 million.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't think they're gonna have any competition with any of that crap. Nobody watches I know I don't. Nobody watches that shit anymore.
No.
I could care less.
Well, the people that don't watch The Last of Us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, you'd be surprised. Some of my friends on my movie page, they are diehard into The Last of Us and diehard into movies, and God forbid they hear that, they will throw hands.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look, it's just my own personal opinion. Like, I don't have a reason to sit on my couch and watch somebody who's got more money than I'll ever see in my life win an award for doing something, that.
Or to see
playing somebody on a show.
Well, my thing is like too the costumes and the thing, like, was it Megan what's her butt? She had a 14 karat gold manicure or 24 karat gold manicure with diamonds. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Should that go on my LinkedIn, Megan what's her butt?
Yeah.
Megan what's her butt.
But anyway, I mean, it's like it's just so stupid. And then did you guys see Madonna?
Oh, God.
I'm sorry, that's not Madonna. That's not
Madonna.
That's an alien.
Have you guys seen the side-by-sides everyone's doing with her and the thing from Saw?
No, I didn't see that one.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
They're putting
no.
her and then the thing, the little thing that rides the Saw, the little.
She had the cheekbones.
Yeah. Oh, that's an alien. I'm sorry. That's an alien.
Yeah, I know.
Pretty crazy.
If someone didn't tell, if I didn't know, if I just saw that picture, I'd be hard pressed to tell them who that was. And I am an 80s girl who grew up listening to Madonna.
You had 80s hair when I saw you in October. Like, you nailed it.
Mm-hmm. It was just memory retention. I just had to remember.
It's like riding a bike. You never forget how to do
it.
In the chat, they're saying Grammys are still a thing, and then Lucy said smacking Chris Rock was the last week. Over last week. And then I said, "Oh, that happened at the Grammys." I thought there was some other thing.
Wait a minute, no, that was the Oscars last year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wait, it was last year. I didn't think about that.
He's been banned. So
yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Keeping my mouth shut on that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I mean, as far as episode 4, you guys have anything else?
I
I
said my notes and I don't even look at them. Yeah. I did. I liked when they were talking and when we touched on little bits of it, but I loved how she got him. Ellie got Joel to talk about his brother and how their relationship and that he was in the firefight. She just slowly let him. And that was the most dialogue we'd heard from him the whole thing so far, But it was very good for her to see some of that stuff, about him going to Boston and just, it was good for viewers that don't know all this information, but it was also good for her to see that or to listen to that and learn a little bit more about him and why, things that made him,
Right. Yeah, that and also him asking her, about when was the first time you actually had to do this or kill someone, and she said, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, she's not ready. Yeah.
So that's going to be something that probably comes out down the line as well, where we hear the story.
I can't wait for that.
Yeah, where we hear that story.
That's gonna hurt to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to say it right now, but I can't.
No, you better not. I will be so
happy. I'm not. No.
I don't even watch the trailer for the next episode. Because then I don't want to know anything. I don't even watch it.
No, Chris already got me to spoil one thing early in this show, so I'm not doing that again.
What'd I do?
Wait, was it you or Ryan got me to say one thing about the following episode?
That was me, but I didn't think we spoiled anything.
It was
a smidge of a spoiler, but I'm purposely not saying anything. But if I will say though, and I said this earlier, if episode 5 stays true to certain gameplay from that time, get your tissues ready.
Noted.
There's some guessing going on in the chat. Lucy seems to think that she shot her dad.
That Ellie shot her dad?
Yeah, I think
Yeah, they're
so.
just guessing what her.
Yeah, everyone's guessing what the spoiler could be or what her backstory is about who she.
Oh, I want to hear these. I can't see the chat, so
Lucy was the only one I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
But.
Well, what do you guys think? I'm gonna have my poker face on, so I'm super.
I watched the game.
Oh yeah,
so
that's
I have a
right.
Fairly good idea. So
yeah, I love that this show had me. I have no clue. I literally have.
Yeah,
no clue.
You get to really go in blind, and I love that.
Yeah, like on the podcast, Troy Barker, who voiced Joel in the game, he said that same thing. He goes, I love this. He goes, because I know the game. I lived the game. He's like, I don't know where you guys are going with this stuff. And he loves it because it's all new to him too in that aspect. I mean, obviously there's the similarities and things, but he said and kind of like the things you guys have mentioned with the bus versus this and the spikes and they change enough things that it's even for gamers they're still getting some
right.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's really cool.
When season 1 is done, I want you to go on YouTube. So they did, I think it was because this is the third, when the game released on PS5, it's the third time it's been released.
Mm-hmm.
Just the first game. So I think this was when the second time it was released. It was like the remastered version. They did a live one night only performance of the game.
Okay.
And it was the actual actors, so Troy Baker, Ashley Johnson, and it was hilarious and it was heartbreaking. And I want you to watch it when season 1 is done and see how they pulled off just on stage.
It's on YouTube?
Yeah. I'll send the link when the season ends. It is so good, and I want you to watch it because now that you've seen the show versus this, and then watch gameplay before season 2.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we could all do that. Everyone out there too. If you guys want to check it out, we'll share the link with everybody.
Just wait till after the season ends, because I don't want anybody to get spoiled.
We won't share it until after that. So, and
then I can replay the game.
Yeah, Lusto, you don't have to play the game though. That's the thing. Like,
no.
You just keep enjoying the show, and then what we'll do when the season's over is we'll share this link to the gameplay, and then you'll get to watch that as well. So
Lucy, I've never played. I'm not a gamer. I don't play anything. So
I'm actually tempted to stream it because I've never streamed a horror game. So I'm super tempted. Actually, no, I am streaming a horror game now, but I've never streamed something to that caliber. So I might just replay it on my couch and then stream it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's making me want to buy a PlayStation really bad. I know that.
Do it.
I'll get one, but it'll just sit there like my Xbox does.
I feel like my son's friend gave him his so he could play this game or something. I don't know. So I don't think that's what he has. I don't know. But my son had been playing ahead of the episode or something, but I don't know.
Well, you could still play it on PS4 and PS3. It's just every time it re-released, the graphics got better and the gameplay and mechanics got better.
I think he's an Xbox guy. Yeah, I think.
It's not on Xbox.
Yeah, I think. I mean, maybe I'm completely wrong.
Well, some people who have never played, like Ryan and Chris, they don't have PlayStation, so you could watch the gameplay.
Oh, I see.
So you can get knowledge that way. So that's what some people are doing too.
Yeah.
But the sales for the game have skyrocketed.
Of course they have. Yeah.
The sales for PS5s have gone up.
Yeah.
And it's perfect timing because, for the past, ever since the PS5 and the Xbox Series X and S launched, it was so hard to get them, to find them because the chip shortages with the pandemic. I remember when I was trying to buy mine, I would have it in the car and it would be immediately out of stock. You couldn't, when I got my Xbox, I had to drive an hour to go pick it up at a store that's nowhere near me. But now I can actually walk into a store and just click, I want that PS5. So it's the perfect timing to have these systems be more readily available, so people don't have to struggle like we did for the past 2.5 years.
I don't know. What do you think? Can I put that on the wedding registry room?
Yes.
Yeah. There you go.
If my friend can put a Lego set on her wedding registry, I think you could put a PS5.
Sweet.
Oh, speaking of Lego sets, they're doing Rivendell from Lord of the
I
Rings.
saw.
Oh, I want that so bad.
That is going to take you a million years to put together.
I know, and I would love it.
I want the on April 1st they're releasing the Star-Lord helmet. I'm gonna get that.
Fun.
Okay.
I love those little helmets. They're only like 7 inches tall,
Yeah,
but they're so much
yeah.
fun to build.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't think I'm gonna spend $500 on the Rivendell
No.
Legos.
Oof. That's
Yeah,
steep.
it is.
And you know, people are going to buy them. They're going to buy like 10 of them and then try putting them on for sale for
Yep.
double the price. And it's just, I hate people.
The only set that I want
We
of
ruin
that
it for everybody.
because people suck.
Yeah.
The only set I want that's like more expensive than that, I've been saving my VIP, points for it, and I got gift cards for it, is the Titanic set. I've been obsessed with Titanic since I was 8 years old, even before the movie came out. And this set is $679. And I have enough points and gift cards to get it for under $200.
Woo! Yeah, nab
But the problem is the box is like probably 8 inches wide, 8 inches tall, and 8 inches deep. But then there's 3 boxes inside of that.
Oh,
it is
shit.
it is probably like 2 feet long, the set. So I have to figure out where I'm gonna put the box because I can't build it until after I move. So it's just gonna sit in storage.
Yeah.
But we've gone on a lot of tangents tonight.
Yeah, we have.
Okay.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Okay. So yeah, peeps. I mean, that's all we got. Episode 5's coming in hot, literally.
Can't wait.
And say bye, Rue.
Bye, Rudy.
Oh, easy.
Aww.
Yeah, episode 5 is coming in hot. It's coming out Friday for those of you who might not have known. So that way they don't compete with the Super Bowl. So Friday they'll be out, and we'll get to see some. It's gonna be a big one. It's gonna be a really big episode.
You said big and bloater.
It's gonna be a big bloated episode. And then we'll figure out what day next week we'll be back, and or the week after, probably be Monday because Tuesday's Valentine's Day. So we'll probably try to shoot for Monday. Ryan, if you're out there, Monday, clear your schedule, pal.
I am not logging out. I'm not logging the Beauty and the Beast account out of this just in case.
Yeah,
we have to do this again.
Hey Meg, real quick though, Lucy would like you to say the word moist.
No. I know this. No.
Why not?
Because I've been a part of
Come
Beast
on,
Mode.
just do it. It's 2:00 in the morning over there. She deserves a moist.
Only if she promises to go to bed right after that. I love doing ultimatums.
She'll do it. She's getting ready. She's saying goodbye anyway, so.
Moist.
That's all you got?
What do you want me to do? Sing it?
Yeah, give me some oomph.
Moist.
Very nice.
And plus, I don't want my neighbors to yell through the wall. Why the fuck are you saying moist?
Yeah. Something's going on over in Meg's apartment. She keeps saying moist.
Is there a leak? What's happening?
You're gonna get a knock at the door and you're like, "Hey, Governor, what's so moist over there, Governor?"
I don't live in England.
I don't know. I'm just saying. You never know.
You gotta speak with a New York accent if you're gonna talk down here.
Yeah. Oh God. All right, everybody. It's been fun. We love having you guys here.
It's been interesting.
Yeah.
For sure.
What a freaking night.
I know we've gone on. We're lucky we're here number 1, and then we've gone off on so many tangents. But it's been a great show. So
it has been.
Yeah, we're good. And then Monday, I would plan on Monday for next week for us.
Yep.
So enjoy episode 5 if you're watching. Enjoy the Super Bowl if you're watching. And
who are you rooting for?
I'm going for Philly.
Who's playing?
Fuck you.
Philly and Kansas City.
Josh will go Kansas City. So
yeah, well, you guys are probably closer. Kansas City's there, but yeah,
not now, but
that's true. Actually, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm pulling for Philly, man.
No.
I can't watch this Patrick Mahomes kid no more, man. He annoys the shit out of me. He just annoys me. That Philadelphia defense is tough. The Philly defense is tough, so I don't know.
I do feel like Eagles are gonna win just because with Mahomes' injury. So I feel like he's gonna choke.
They're gonna put some cortisone in his ankle. He'll be fine.
We'll see what happens in a few days.
Get rid of my notes.
Adios. I
notes.
can't get rid of mine because.
Yeah. Oh man, I wouldn't do that.
Mine are on a Word doc. I'll delete that.
I don't have enough time. All right, guys.
Everybody.
All right, guys. Thanks so much.
Stream.
Yeah.
Be safe, and we love you.